Hi, folks. Welcome to episode 115 of the Wealth on Any Income podcast. This is where we talk about money, tips, techniques, attitudes, information, and provide inspiration around your business and your money. I'm your host, Rennie Gabriel. In past episodes, we spoke about how to understand the numbers from your business, how to measure the level of pleasure based on where you spend your money, how to track your money in 5 to 10 seconds, what determines how close you are to complete financial choice, and how to run your business without being in your business. And last week, we had David Jens, the founder of one of Australia's most trusted digital agencies, Melbourne SEO Services, which he systematized himself out of in 2016. Today, we have as our guest Jackie Woodside. Jackie is a USA Today and 4-time Amazon best-selling author, TEDx speaker, international trainer, and professional coach. She's the founder of the Curriculum for Conscious Living and the Conscious Living Summit, and trains coaches around the world to deliver this life-changing work. Jackie, welcome to the Wealth on Any Income podcast.
Great to be with you, Rennie. I so enjoy you and our relationship. I enjoy your commitment and your mission in life. And it's just, I always love being in your space.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, let's get right to it with some questions. Got an idea you do something around consciousness and working with coaches, but give me a little bit more of what you do and why.
Great. So yeah, I do like to say I'm a consciousness trainer, consciousness speaker, but people's eyes kind of glaze over when I say that. So I had to dress it up a little bit more, right? So what does that actually mean? So I have a philosophy, an approach to life, money, time, leadership called the Vibe Method. Scientific American about 3 years ago published an article that said the hippies were right. It is all about your vibe. And what we know today, because notice I said that was Scientific American published that article. So what we know today at the intersection of what I call science and spirituality is that how we think and feel creates this external vibration, if you will, like when you walk into a party and you're like, I don't know what it is about that guy. I just like his vibe. Or you see somebody across the room and you're like, I'm sure about him. I like his vibe. That's an actual thing. So I understand that and have studied it and trained on it for many, many years. And I teach people this extraordinary capacity to use your mind, to train your brain, to elevate your vibration and have a better life. Whether it's with money, time, life, or leadership. Those are the 4 areas that I've created programs and teachings on.
Thank you, Jackie. That adds a lot to the explanation. Now, as you probably know, I donate 100% of the profits from the work I do training other people about money. I donate to charity. Tell me about a particular charity that you support and what they do.
Oh, thanks for asking. I support my church. My particular church is called Unity on the River. But at unity.org, you can check out the spiritual centers. I still call it churches because I like going to a church. But the Unity movement is a spiritual movement that is based in metaphysics, mind, body, spirit approach to Christian living. And so it's a metaphysical interpretation of Christian theology. I support my church, the Unity Church. I also support a nonprofit here in Boston called Deaf Inc. that serves deaf immigrant people who have moved to this country and have all kinds of challenges. And then the university where my spouse works, Gallaudet University, that's a university for deaf people in Washington, D.C.
Question, is your husband deaf or someone in your family?
So my spouse is actually a female. And yes, she is profoundly deaf, was born deaf. I'm fluent in American Sign Language.
Yeah. One of my tenants also happens to be deaf and is an interpreter for hearing people, but she's completely deaf.
Yeah.
And her ability to read lips blows me away.
Nice.
It's just amazing how she can do that. Thank you. Tell me who your target market folks are.
I work with spiritually oriented people who are up to stuff in life, who are success oriented, who want to make a profound difference. But sometimes people who are deeply spiritually oriented don't quite have their feet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I provide the structures, very practical approaches to how to what I call make your life a living prayer. the fullest expression of yourself at each moment, not just this, little part of your day where you're doing your spiritual practice, every moment. So my, the people that I serve, well, in my leadership work, I tend to work in nonprofits and education, although I've done some corporate training. So my leadership work is a little bit more over here. My personal development work and spiritual teaching, spiritually oriented people who want to kick ass and make a difference in the world.
Fabulous. Now we'll get to a little deeper question. Tell me what your biggest failure was, whether personal or business, and what insight you gained from it.
Oh boy, there's so many to choose from.
A recent guest said something about having been introduced as the success seminar leader. And he said, I don't like that introduction. I've had far more failures than successes, but people forget about those,
right,
and only remember the successes.
Right. Well, honestly, I think it's quite the opposite, that people forget their successes and remember their failures. But
yes. Yeah. For us personally. Yes.
Right. So first of all, I believe there is no such thing as failure. There's feedback from the universe at every turn. Sometimes we accomplish what we set out to, and sometimes we don't.
But from that, we have a learning experience.
And from that, we learn and grow and shift and change. And so I have a very different relationship with failure. In fact, I want to be setting goals that I'm not accomplishing on a regular basis, because it means I'm setting bigger and bigger goals and I'm not reaching them yet, which is completely fine with me. I love that, because we're here to grow. I have a huge commitment to that. So I'll tell you an interesting story, Rennie, that relates to my, if you will, failure. And some people might listen to
or learning experience.
Yeah. So, and some people might listen to this and be like, well, gosh, you made a lot of money. Why are you calling that a failure? But it was a very profound learning lesson. So it was back, when I was adopting my son. He's 17 now. So it's probably going back 17, 18 years. It's very expensive. International adoption is very expensive. So I was looking for money, and how am I going to come up with some more money? And I want to be able to do this. And I saw an ad in the USA Today in their investment section, 25% ROI, return on your investment, minimum 5,000 down, 25% in 30 days. 25% in 30 days.
That's more than 25% a year if it's in 30 days.
25% in 30 days. And I thought, I'll play. So I threw $5,000 at it. And sure enough, I got 25% return in 30 days. So I pursued this for quite some time. I made some really good money. I went down to their offices that were in Georgia. I met the owner, really got involved with the company. And through that, I also met a bunch of other people. A guy who was selling and trading livestock in Florida, and a guy who was selling houses in Texas. I met all of these investment opportunities. Well, to make a long story short, they all were scams. I ended up being interviewed by the FBI, not because I had done anything wrong. I was considered a victim of the crime.
Not only the one that promised 300% a year, but the other people you met as well?
Yep. So the guy who was selling cattle never owned any cattle.
Oh.
I was on the phone with him all the time. I get a $5.97 remuneration check from him every month from the prison that he's in. Right? Yeah. So every single one of them was a scam.
Oh, geez.
And so the learning for me it's really interesting. Stay in your lane. I was put on this planet to raise consciousness, to create a world where love prevails. And I'm a vegetarian, and I was out there doing cattle trading, right? So I got greedy and stupid, like the people who were doing it, because I shunned my values and my purpose. And since that time, I've had, I want to say, hundreds of people approach me about doing this multi-level marketing company, or invest in this or invest in that. And without giving it a second thought, I say, no, thank you. I will stay in my lane.
Fabulous learning experience, and not necessarily a failure. You're still
in some ways, I certainly didn't feel good about the fact that I went. So I guess when I think of it as a failure, it was a failure of being true to myself.
I hear you. And from a financial standpoint, you're getting your $5 a month for a while.
Right. $5.97.
Yeah. Oh, almost $6. Okay.
Almost $6. But I made decent money from him as well. And a lot of my friends started doing those investments. It was such a fascinating time. Which people got in and then lost money, and which people got in and made money, which people got in and broke even. I say it's because of my money vibe that I got in, actually made a lot of money and then got out. Although I didn't get out of all of them. Some of them I was still in, but still had already made money on them before they all came crashing down.
There's a technical term for it that you're probably familiar with. It's called Ponzi scheme.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yeah, named after a Mr. Ponzi who created it.
The gentleman who was selling houses, the first one that I got involved with, the 25 ROI in 30 days, he started doing a legitimate, like buy, sell and flip, buy, flip and sell, whatever, buy, renovate and flip. It was legitimate. And he got stupid and greedy. And he started just trading paper instead of money.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the goal or the benefit. The people who work with you, do you have a case study for how things show up for them? Where someone was, you're working with them, and where they ended up?
Sure. I mean, I just glanced down at my phone because I'm getting text messages from the gal who I just got off a call with. So first of all, let me back up a minute, Rennie. It depends on what people are hiring me for. Yeah. Because I've been a coach for 30 years. I've done business development coaching. I've done life coaching. I've done the gamut. But fresh in mind, the gal that I'm working with has been in her career for many, many years, has wanted to leave this particular job for probably 10 years and has just not had the courage or the courage to do so, the clarity and her ability to start creating a new identity that she can actually live into. I've been working with her since the summer for 4 or 5 months now. And she's created a new vision for her future, but she still was not, and worked on her identity, got clear on who she is and where she wanted to go with her life, but was still not able to pull the plug on the current job. So in today's call, I said to her, what's happening? Because her homework for this past session was to just write down the steps of leaving the job. I said to her, what's happening?
Yes.
She started to cry. She said, I don't know who I am without this job. I said, I got that. And you're either going to have to believe that there's something bigger in you that wants to emerge, or you're going to have to decide to stay here forever. Either one is okay.
Yeah.
And so blah, blah, blah. By the end of the call, we agreed. I said to her, I'm going to give, she said, but I don't know how to do it. I said, I'm going to make a suggestion. I'm going to give you a suggestion of how to do it. And you can only answer with yes or no. And so I said, look at your calendar. And I said, no, actually don't. Just choose a month from today. Tell your husband tonight you're leaving the job. And then on Monday, this is like 4 days later, go in and tell them.
And it's better. And you should have said, she should preface it when she speaks to her husband that I need to tell you about my job, not I want to tell you I'm leaving.
Right. Well, they've been talking about it for years. He's all on board. He wants her to leave. Yeah. He's all on board. So, and I said, you can only say yes or no. And I want you to feel in your body and listen, what is your truth? And so, of course, she started with, I think maybe, I was like, you can only say one word, yes or no. And I had to do that 3 times. Again, she started to cry and she said yes. And so I told her when she got off to go talk to her husband and then text me, and she's been texting me since we've been. So that's just one example of helping people, not just to, go out and create a new career. This is what a lot of coaches talk about. But if people have been doing the same thing for a long time, it's not about changing their career. It's about changing their beliefs, their identity, their future, their vision. And that pulls on a lot of faith. So all of this stuff of our humanity comes up. That's the level that I work with people. People who have really wanted to create a change and haven't been able to do it come to me. I'm an activator. In my space, people will grow and change.
Beautiful, Jackie. Well, I'm going to guess my listeners will want to know more about you, how to get a hold of you. Is there a valuable resource that you can provide? So at least it's some way of connecting with you?
Oh, well, certainly people can go to my website and reach me there, JackieWoodside.com. But I also can offer, I've got so many free gifts on my website. So if you go to my website on my resources page, there's a whole list of free things. But one of them is called the 30-Day Money Vibe Challenge. It's an intention experiment where people can set an amount of income they want to bring into their lives over 30 days. And then every day they get an email from me with an affirmation, an intention, and an action to take.
Mm.
And it's extraordinary to see what happens in people's lives of unexpected income coming into their life. So if people want to do that, they can do that. I'm not sure if that's on my website. I have another website called Money Vibe Method, moneyvibemethod.com/30-day-challenge. Or just Google Money Vibe or 30-day Money Vibe Challenge, and you'll find it. So that's something I'd like to give to people. But I also have a free forgiveness ebook on my website. I have a free money e-course on my website.
Oh, yeah, there's a financial freedom formula that you have.
Yeah. And then a number of masterclass replays that are on there, and a couple of other ebooks. So there's a whole bunch of stuff on my website for free.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to put the website link in the show notes. People can just click on it and go right there and have a whole potpourri of things to choose from.
Where whatever people's needs are. I was a therapist for 30 years, and I'm not that smart, and I don't know a lot of things, but I do know the human condition very, very well.
Beautiful. Well, now, is there a question that I should have asked you that would also give great value, and plus the answer?
I think what a lot of people ask me a lot of times is, yeah, but how do I do it?
Oh, how? The big how. Yeah.
How do I do it? I did a masterclass on raising your vibration or something, and somebody asked for a consult with me afterwards. And I always give hows in my masterclasses and in my reading. And she's like, but I really want to have more money, and I'm really struggling. And I was like, well, the thing to do is just change your consciousness, change your beliefs, but how? And I said, it's a lifetime commitment to, creating change is a lifetime commitment. I wrote a book on this actually called Time for Change. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for people who are like, yeah, but how? You have to understand I'll just say two elemental things. First of all, you have a belief system that supports the way that you currently think, move, and have your being. Mm-hmm. The way you currently live is supported by a belief system, and it's also supported by your identity. So your beliefs and your consciousness, the way you think, feel, and believe in the world, that's your consciousness, needs to elevate in order for you to change. And then secondly, neurologically, you are brain patterned to think the way that you think. But your thoughts aren't true. You're just patterned that way. And then third, I know I said two, but I'm going to do three.
Yeah,
psychologically.
This is called a bonus. Yeah.
Right. This is the bonus. Psychologically, you have an identity that says, this is who I am. Without changing your consciousness, your neurological patterning, and your personality or your identity. Yeah. Sustained change is really hard. Now, that may be like, oh my God. But what I just said is not that difficult with proper guidance and support and understanding of the change process.
I agree completely, because I ended up having to go through that starting in my 40s. I'm in my 70s and it's not done yet.
Wow. Dude, you look awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. I did tell you this was going to be video also. Thank you. Jackie, I want to thank you for being on the Wealth on Any Income podcast.
It's delightful to be here with you. And I love that whole concept, wealth on any income, because financial freedom is a state of mind, not about your bank account.
Yeah. And people can have both.
Exactly. I've been rich, I've been poor. Rich is better.
Yes, it is. Exactly. And to my listeners, I also want to thank you for tuning in. Next week, we're going to have Brad Warren, who helps investors diversify their portfolios by investing in strategically placed raw land to build generational wealth. It's only for people who are patient. You can listen to the Wealth on Any Income podcast on your favorite platform, and please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you'd like to know how books, movies, and society programs you to be poor and what the cure is, then either listen to Jackie or log on to the wealthonanyincome.com website /TEDx. You'll hear my TED Talk and can request a free 27-page roadmap to complete financial choice and receive a weekly email with tips, techniques, or inspiration around your business or your money. And if you'd like to see how you can increase your wealth and donate to the causes that touch your heart, please check out our affordable program, Wealth with Purpose. Until next week, Be prosperous. Bye-bye for now.